yesterday, Tara was telling me about Taylor Swift, right? And she's like, "Oh my God, this person's like amazing. She's like basically ruling the world. She increased the GDP of USA, blah blah blah." And I was like, "I don't know anything about this. Like, I don't like. I get you're like super into this, but I barely listen to her music. I only listen to it if you're putting it on. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?" And and then she was like, "Oh, our feeds are totally different, you know?" And it's like, of course, because the algorithm, right? But then when you
Mhm.
look at the popularity of Taylor Swift, okay, when she was telling me that, I'm like, yeah, but it's run by a machine. The only reason why Taylor Swift is famous is because of the music marketing machine, right? And then she's like, well, what about the independent artists like Macklemore? I'm like, yeah, where's Macklemore now? You know what I mean? When you're with a label, you get the benefits of a label, but you also have the pitfalls, right?
But I don't think
And
there is some
okay,
truth to that once they've got their name out there, though, right? Like once they've you're fighting other labels, let's say, also, right?
mhm, yeah,
So you the label will help to a certain extent, but I think the music or the artist won't go that far if they're not really as into it. So like she's going to be that famous,
no,
but
no,
what
for
about
sure,
the other labels other people that were under that label that they pushed but didn't
right,
happen?
right. No, no, for sure, for sure, for sure. But what it is like it's not your artistry, right? It's the machine behind you. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like you can be the best singer in the world. Like Taylor Swift's like yeah, her songs are good, but it's like if she made those amazing songs, but there's no vehicle to get them out there, who's gonna listen? Like, sure,
Yeah,
you've
that's what
built
I'm
a
saying.
fan base
There's
now.
a level of
Oh,
help
okay.
with them. No, I'm not saying there's no help with them. There's help with
Oh, okay,
them,
okay,
but
okay.
she would have to be also good, is what I'm saying. If
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, of course, of course.
right.
But it's like movies. It's like movies, right? Because you kind of bank on one, and you're like, okay, am I gonna get a return on this?
Mm-hmm.
You know. I was listening to the game talk about this, and he was saying like, why wasn't he at the Super Bowl halftime show with all the other artists that supported Dre, right? And he was saying that the reason why they chose Kendrick Lamar over the game, because the game is like a strong part of Dr. Dre, right? Like Dr. Dre brought him up and became famous, right? But he was saying that Kendrick Lamar, even though he's not directly signed under Dre, right? Because he's with like Top Dog Entertainment, they put him on because he's safe, right? He's a safe rapper. And I was like, yeah, that is the game. You're like, if we put the game on there, that's funny, the game. But if we put the game on the Super Bowl, people are like, ew, like, why are you, there's so much negativity to his backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So we're mitigating risk. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like with Taylor Swift, sure, her music's good, whatever, but they're like, we can push you further because of your like holistic picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a safe bet. You're like this white girl who came out of like humble beginnings. You're just, you know what I mean? It's like it's the American dream. We're selling you the American dream through Taylor Swift. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
Whereas like other artists, you know, are really good, but we don't have anything to sell you on. We can't push you to the masses. And I
Well,
feel
yeah,
like that's why Taylor Swift's
yeah, but
big.
there's so many, yeah, because there's so many other things involved in it too, right? Advertising and things like that. Of course,
Yeah.
you want to extend your reach to more people than to a few people.
Right, totally, totally. And if
So,
you are only marketing to your fan base, like Macklemore, because Tara's like, oh, Macklemore's still touring and stuff. I'm like, yeah, because like, well, one, artists mostly make their money off tour, but two, his fan base isn't going to grow. Like, it'll grow a little, but if you started placing him places through the marketing machine, then other people will know about him. And my anecdotal example is Vince Staples. I had no idea who Vince Staples was, okay? Until I heard the Black Panther trailer. And I was like, what
mhm.
song is this? Right? And then but it's marketing. Like your agent got you that placement on that trailer. They could have used another song, but they
Sure.
got you that, and that's like the label. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And with Kendrick, I brought this up because I watched Dumb Money yesterday, and they had this whole scene where they're just singing Kendrick Lamar's song. And I was like, "Oh, you didn't do this. This was your label. This was your marketing machine.
Right.
Like, do you really think Kendrick Lamar approached you and was like, "Hey, I'd like to be in this movie"? They're probably like, they went to like the label heads went to the movie and they're like, you want some extra funding for this movie? Because you have to raise capital to make a
Sure,
movie,
of
right?
course.
Right. So like, okay, if we buy you in at this, and then we can advertise Kendrick Lamar's song, more people are going to listen to Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's this whole machine behind people, and I don't think that when we see popularity, we don't think about the machine. We just think like, if I'm just really good at making music, I will be number one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a whole package. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. And another thing that is related to this is Taylor Swift is dating this new um, Taylor Swift is dating this new football player or something. I don't really know. Taylor's like telling me yesterday.
Okay.
He's like this like sports person, right?
Sure.
And then she's like, you know, they started commenting on his page saying like, oh, if it wasn't for Taylor or something like that, like Taylor boosted you in popularity, right? But all the guys who are into sports were like, no, he's a very famous football player, right? But now you're open up to a more mainstream public because of Taylor Swift. And
Sure.
he jumped like 400,000 followers overnight. He has a podcast with his brother and it just became number one because he dated Taylor Swift. So it's like you see these networking ramifications, you know, it's like it's really not about the artistry. It's about the marketing, which goes back to like the government thing with the One Piece, right? It's like, how do we present it to the world?
Right.
You know, if there's no vehicle for others to listen, then you're really just like shouting into the wind. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it makes you question. It's like, okay, so who's really pulling the strings? Is it like me because I'm really interested in your artistry, or did you just get placed in front of me and I thought I found you by accident?
I feel like both can play in that part.
Yes. Okay. But to get big, I mean, you could have like a small following, like, yeah, okay, 200 people love you, you know, but like to have millions of people listen to you, that's not an accident.
Sure.
That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people are playing, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think it's not all just an accident, but you have to have those skills to be a good artist too, right? It's not
Yeah,
only the
no,
label.
of
That's what I'm
course.
saying. It's both. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But no, okay, but which is the defining?
Like there's
So it's like,
probably like there's probably like this too. It's like you may, I know there's like artists that would have probably certain skills in a certain type of song, but if you really want to get heard, then you need to sing more like these types of songs,
oh, this is great. This is a great example,
right?
actually. Vince Staples. I love him as a musician, not just because of his music, but his like mindset. So he realized. So Vince Staples, he didn't grow up wanting to be a rapper. He just hung around rappers, Mac Miller, and Mac Miller literally taught him how to rhyme. Right? He's like, this is the cadence. This is when you come in. Blah blah blah. Right? And he educated him. Vince Staples just wanted to work at FedEx because he had no high education. He's just like, let me just get any job, get a salary. So during the rise of Vince Staples, he was playing these festivals, and then he realized, oh, there's no rappers on these festivals, but the festivals, like these EDM festivals, pay lots of money.
Yeah.
So what he did was his album Big Fish Theory, he literally created this. He like admits it. He created it using techno beats because he knew that he could get in as the only rapper to these EDM festivals.
Right.
And he made bank. So it's like what you're saying, you know? It's like you kind of have to play the game.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You have to understand where you can also get your name out there too, right? In certain ways that are popular at the time, right? Once EDM became big, but it's like, how do I get into this world? There's just old school rap ain't gonna work, all right?
Yeah, for sure. And the only person that I can see not doing that is Kendrick Lamar, and that's why I love him as a rapper, because he is so good lyrically that the only reason why he's big is because of the cosign of other rappers. Other rappers like Eminem, Dr. Dre, The Game, 50 Cent, they're all like, Kendrick's the best. Like lyrically, Kendrick is the best.
Right.
So other people are gonna like from those fan bases are like, who's Kendrick Lamar?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why for him it's like he can wait 7 years to put out an album and we'll like listen to it, and he doesn't care about following a trend. He just cares about creating like an artful masterpiece.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like you're just lucky because you got a cosign, bro. It's not just on, like, I'm trying to figure out like what's the defining characteristic here. Is it the artist or is it the cosigns in the marketing machine? I think it's the marketing machine.
I think it's both. I think it's both.
No, but how can it be both?
Because if the artist doesn't have the skills, it's not. It doesn't matter.
Okay, Tekashi 6ix9ine, he blew up, and so okay, you can blow up but then fizzle out.
Mm-hmm.
So Tekashi 6, you know the guy with like
yeah.
So okay, so he was just like, he was just making music that was like popular. And then he exploded online, so then a record label signed him. But then he fizzled out because it's like, yeah, your artistry wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And like, I feel like, yes, in the beginning, it can raise you to a level, your artistry. Sorry. Actually, no, I get what you're saying. It's like, it'll always come down to the musician.
Yeah. How much you're going to put into this thing, right? It's both, is what I'm saying. They will, of course, help push your name to get out there. But if you're not consistent, you're just going to fizzle
with
out.
Your quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. I see why you said both now. Okay. So if it's the marketing machine, it'll rise and fall quickly.
Oh, yeah, it can. Yes.
Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? But if you're just a musician alone, then
it's hard to get your name out there without a help.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, that's so interesting. It's interesting because I was thinking of it like binary, like that's how a reductionist approach, like which is the defining thing, right? And you're like both. And I'm like, it can't be both but it is both because like that's what duality is usually, like Taoism. It is both all the time, right? Just one or the other is just like interplaying. But isn't that interesting the way my mind worked? It was like, which is most people's minds works, right? It's like, let's just figure out what the one thing is. Like, maybe it's not one thing.
But then we forget, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what were the other artists at the time when Taylor Swift was coming up that they were also putting money into, but it didn't go as well, right? You'd probably get a name out there, but then she continued on because she was consistent with
quality.
Yeah.
The two kept working together.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why it seems like it's only like, they only focused on her, but it's not. I don't think that's true.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that one. That's actually a really fair point. Yeah. I love that. It's like I came to this thing with like one idea, and then like through this, I just shifted my perspective. I was like, yeah, actually, this is a solid argument.